The megatrend from the good story to my story has the potential to revolutionize everything that we know. As human beings, we always had this need to be part of a story, and that story could be told by God, or it could be told by ideologies, or it could be told by the national state. And the all-going principle in these stories were that they were given from the outside. So when we were born into a story, and that story defined your life, what newspaper you had to read, what social segment you were in, what product you buy later on, and so on. But with the death of all these authorities, we saw that commercialization came in and branding and took over with storytelling that we ourselves actually wrote about in the Dream Society when we worked at the Copenhagen Institute for Future Studies. So we saw this commercialization of my story because we still have this need to have something from the outside coming in and letting us define our identity. So we bought our identity. But what we see today is that people realize that telling the story about my life is not something that I can just consume or buy. It is something that requires friction and frustration and takes many, many years. It's a really hard job to tell my story. So of course we see depressions and we see stress in society and a struggle going on, but life is hard. It has always been hard. So it turns the world upside down. It means that we have to be both arrogant and humble at the same time. You have to be really arrogant about your story and say, this is my story. This is the most fantastic story about what I do, what is my product, what is my company. But we also need to be humble enough to see that when I meet you, I do not know how this story applies to you and the whole environment that you are in. So of course the people who will listen in the future, the people who listen louder will have an advantage point. The people who don't need binoculars to see the world but can cope with the vast complexity, looking through a kaleidoscope and see the beauty that it is actually that all the people in the world have the ability to tell my story if we only listen.